Good morning. My name is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th and the time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
While we're just, with respect to your father, there have been multiple questions about whether he worked for any intelligence agency. Do you have any knowledge about that?
I think, well, certainly my father had a background in intelligence because he was, I believe he did in the Second World War, he was a British intelligence officer. I think that my sort of belief is that once you've been an intelligence officer, you're kind of always, it doesn't mean that you're formally employed. So I don't think my dad in any formal sense was employed by any agency, but when you are a very significant businessman and politician, as my father was, you meet with people all the time and you, I guess, trade business or ideas. I think if that would fall under that definition, that's how I would think of it. Now, he certainly, I have no formal knowledge of anything specifically that he did in that thing, but if you're asking me if I thought that he did help people, the answer would be yes, I do.
Did your father and Mr. Epstein have a business relationship over the years? I know we're maybe jumping around a little bit tonight.
They never met. So
as far as you know, they never even met.
No,
Or you know they never met.
I know they never met.
Okay. Well, how do you know they never met?
Thank you. Just categorically, no, they never met. Well, because after, in 1991, before my father died, he asked me if I'd met anybody interesting or whatever, because I was still trying not to be sucked back into the family business. And I told him that I had met Mr. Epstein, and the reason why I shared that I'd met Mr. Epstein because I believed at that time that Epstein worked for Bear Stearns, and Bear Stearns was one of our banks.
How about Leon Black?
Oh, I did meet Leon. I do know Leon.
When do you remember, and again, I know we're talking about a very long time ago, but do you remember approximately when you met him?
I could have met Leon, not really. So I might have met him, nothing to do, because Leon Black is very good friends with other friends of mine. I would have met him, when I say socially, I might have met him. How Leon and Epstein became really good friends, I'm not sure.
But not through you, as far as you recall?
Not through me, as far as I know, no. I'm sure that's not through me.
Do you know what kind of work Mr. Epstein was doing for Mr. Black over the years?
Same as what he did for Wexner.
So, we just talked about two individuals, and again, I know we're talking about maybe a 15-year time period or even longer. How many clients like that did Mr. Epstein have?
Well, why don't I just give you the names that I remember? And
Say it again?
Why won't I just give you the names?
Yeah.
Do you want the names?
No, sure, go ahead.
Elizabeth Johnson, Johnson & Johnson.
When did, as far as you know, when did the relationship between Ms. Johnson and Mr. Epstein start?
90s. 95, 96.
So during
90s.
the time period?
Yes, we're talking 90s. We're talking when I was there, when I was around.
How did their relationship start?
I don't know how he became that friendly, why he ended up managing her money. I wasn't there. This notion that he blackmailed men, we don't really have to go there, that he wasn't a businessman and that everything he did was a fraud or a funk or whatever. I don't believe that to be true.
Why?
Sorry?
Why do you, so you say you don't believe it to be true, but show me why you think that.
Okay.
Just from, I know you've been talking about it, that he was very conscientious, he was very good at math, paid a lot of attention to his clients, but yes, you're right. There's allegations of blackmail, or also that there was some level of fraud involved in what he did, and you don't believe it. Why do you say that?
Well, let me rephrase that. If there was fraud, I never saw it. What I saw, or what I felt when I ran that office. I was responsible for the staff people worked. There were lawyers, there were accountants. I never heard him, I never felt anything, I don't know, icky. I built those houses, many of them. I decorated those houses. I put the electricians in for the wiring. I never wired nor saw a single house that had any type of inappropriate, let's say, video surveillance. And I'll define that for you. Inappropriate surveillance would mean in a bathroom, in a bedroom, in any private area of a home.
In a room where there were massages given.
Inappropriate. I would say, I would define appropriate surveillance to be the front door of a house, or potentially, as in 71st Street, the physical plant. Subject of the question that you're asking me, I believe started in the 2000s.
So in the 2000 time period.
Yes, 2000.
Why do you think
2000.
like what in your mind makes you think that that's the time that it started?
I think because in December of 2001 he met, and I think was responsible for that in its entirety. And the reason I believe that, so she was a self-confessed, having been sexually abused as a young girl, and was trained, her words I'm quoting now, not mine, in all the arts of whatever that is, the sex program, by a man called Ron Eppinger, who was her pimp from when she was 14, I believe, or 15, I don't know. And in her book describes him training her to be what every man wants in all its manners, fellatio and everything else. I believe that then what happened was that he met her, and she came as a masseuse to his house in December of 2001 is when I think it started. Now, what their relationship was and what happened with them in that early period of time, I cannot say. What I can say is that he liked her and she started to travel with him at that time period. I know then what happened was that when she first started to see him, or first came into his orbit as his masseuse or whatever, she was engaged to be married and wearing an engagement ring and was living with her fiancé. She broke up after a few months with her fiancé and took up with the local drug dealer. So let's say after 4 or 5 months in the time period when she was seeing Epstein, let's say we're now May, June of 2002, or is it 2000? From whenever she hits the, whatever that is, if that's 2000, I think it's 2000, I'm sorry. I think it's when she met him, December of 2000. So then you go through, I don't remember, you'll have to look.
Okay. I'm not holding you to exact date.
No, I mean, I'm just trying to, I'm giving the, so then I think, so she takes up with the local drug dealer, and she becomes druggy. Like, you know how druggies, well maybe you don't. I live with a lot in Tallahassee. They become even more unreliable than normal. And at some point, she's now working somewhere else. He stops seeing her because he doesn't like people who do drugs. And I think that not seeing her lasted 5 or 6 months, and in that period of time she got arrested for theft, and she had a warrant out for her arrest. Now this I've pieced together because this piece I didn't know. She then called Epstein to have help avoiding the warrant for her arrest, and he sent her to Thailand to get a massage therapy license. This is the bit that I guess. This is the bit that I extrapolated. In the period of time from when she came back to when she left, he asked her to replace herself as his masseuse or whatever she was doing. And she brought the first replacement for her that would have been one of the accusers in my case, I think, would have been and then everyone who came subsequent, simultaneously, if she wasn't the first, I don't know, every single person who came to his house came through, and her boyfriend Tony, and then whoever else underneath her. And that is how it started.
And then the kind of what I called famous friends, but the prominent individuals that were in his life in the 90s. Does any stick out in your mind as having received massages? All of them?
Henry Rosowski received a massage.
And why does that stick out in your memory?
Because I saw him in a bathrobe at 71st Street, and he had received a massage, he told me.
And do you know whether there was any, whether the masseuse was naked during that massage?
I wouldn't have any idea.
Do you know whether
I doubt it. He was like in his 80s.
Say it again?
I doubt it. He was like in his 80s.
Okay, but do you know, notwithstanding his age?
Minsky.
Say it again?
Minsky was another person.
Do you know whether, for example, President Clinton ever received a massage?
I don't believe he did.
And what makes you say you don't believe he did?
Well, because I don't, so that's a good question. The time that Epstein and President Clinton spent together, the only times I believe, well, obviously they traveled. There was that, they claim they went on the plane 26 times or whatever. That would be one journey. So they spent time on the plane together, and I don't believe there was ever a massage on the plane. So that would have been the only time that I think that President Clinton could have even received a massage, and he didn't, because I was there.
And you mentioned that in the very beginning of the conversation, you mentioned President Trump in the early 90s.
Yes.
What did you observe as far as President Trump and his relationship with you or Mr. Epstein?
Well, I just want to say for my relationship with President Trump, relationship's a big word, but I just want to say that I met him, or I believe I may have, because of my father in the 90s.
Yep. Okay.
So my father liked him very much, and he really liked his wife as well, because they were both Czechoslovakian. And as far as I'm concerned, President Trump was always very cordial and very kind to me. And I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now, and I like him, and I've always liked him. So that is the sum and substance of my entire relationship with him.
What about Mr. Epstein's relationship with him?
I don't know how they met, and I don't know how they became friends. I certainly saw them together, and I remember the few times I observed them together that they were friendly. I mean,
was that in social settings, or was that in private settings?
I believe I only ever saw them in social settings. I don't recall any private settings.
Have you ever been to Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach?
I have.
And what time period are you thinking about when you say yes?
Well, I don't remember when the president purchased Mar-a-Lago, so from whenever it turned into a club, I went there, and I loved going there.
Did you go there alone or with Mr. Epstein?
Mostly alone. Only times I went there was for an event, maybe once or twice.
And do you know whether Mr. Epstein ever went there?
I believe he did, but again, we really were, he didn't take me with him all the time, so he would go and, well, he did from time to time, but he would go alone. I think he would maybe go himself to the spa. I certainly did.
Did you ever observe President Trump receive a massage?
Never.
Did you ever observe, you said that have you seen there's photographs, public photographs of Mr. Epstein and President Trump together?
Yes.
and there's photographs of, I think you're in some of the photographs
Yes.
as well. Those all appear to be social settings.
Yes,
Do you,
that's my memory. If there were social settings, I don't know Epstein's. If he had whatever the nature of the president's friendship, if you will, or however you want to define that with Epstein, I was never witness. I think they were friendly, like people are in social settings. I don't think they were close friends, or I certainly never witnessed the president in any of. I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting. I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
when's the last time you think you saw in person President Trump?
It's been a long time. Probably not. Sometime in the beginning, mid 2000s maybe, and it would only have been a social setting, as far as I recall.
And did you ever hear Mr. Epstein or anybody say that President Trump had done anything inappropriate with masseuses or with anybody in your world?
Absolutely never.
And,
in any context.
Do you know whether masseuses from Mar-a-Lago spa ended up giving massages to private massages to Mr. Epstein? And I'm not asking for what you may have read, but from at the time, from your personal knowledge, do you know whether that's true?
I don't recall. Is it possible? Yes, but I don't remember that. So I don't recall that, but it's possible.
Do you have recollection of you ever recruiting a masseuse from Mar-a-Lago spa to go give a private massage to Mr. Epstein?
I've never recruited a masseuse from Mar-a-Lago for that, as far as I remember. I can't ever recollect doing that.
So, there you have it. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, we have this criminal claiming the following. Robert Maxwell, her father, was not working for intelligence. Jeffrey Epstein was not a pedophile up until the early 2000s. Jeffrey Epstein did not have a honeypot blackmail operation going on. Jeffrey Epstein only served as a financial advisor for the likes of Lex Wexner and Leon Black. Neither Bill Clinton nor Donald Trump were ever involved in criminal or indecent behavior. And the most crazy claim of them all, Virginia Roberts was the one who initiated Jeffrey Epstein into pedophilia, as he was a junkie on the prowl for sugar daddies. Of course, now that Virginia is dead, she cannot defend herself from these crazy accusations, which in theory would put Maxwell in a lot of trouble due to her testimony being directly contradicted by one of the victims. Can you see now why killing Virginia was so important for the cult before this soap opera unfolded in the media?